akwesoma the life careers okwenda kuleta kikindi Samantha. You're welcome. On blackhotfirenetwork. Close the door. You're welcome. Good evening. It's Africa Mariah. Right. Kampala, Uganda. Today's it's a Friday. Today we are going to, the topic today is about Wagner Group. Of course, Wagner Group is a mercenary group. A Putin is a private army. Is Putin's private army. This is Wagner Group is an army that was created by Putin. Dwight Davidson, thank you for coming through. Thank you so much for coming through. Yeah, so we all know that of late, Russia has been trying to exercise its power on Africa and, of course, show its willingness to work together with African leaders who will agree to, of course, Putin's conditions. And we know we still have neo-colonization in Africa, that though most people feel that we are independent, those people who know how this matrix runs down here really understand that Africa has never gained its independence. Now, we have also seen Russia and the United States, of course, sending weapons in Sudan. We've seen, a lot that have been going on. So Russia has very much been participating in a lot of wars that have been happening in Africa, but it has not been so, shouting that most people have not realized that Russia has been in Africa even before now. A lot of Africans have not realized that Africa has been here before now, because it has been doing its activities undercover in a hide. It has not come out in broad daylight to tell the Africans that, I'm doing this here and there. But of course, we have different Russian embassies in Africa and, of course, Uganda among. Lando Winter, thank you very much for coming through. Lando Winter says, hey, Maria, I'm very familiar with that Wagner Group. I'm so very, very grateful that you're very familiar. So I guess it's going to be a very interesting topic. We're reading your comments and how you understand the Wagner Group. And I'm so very much sure that you also know that it has a lot of dealings it protects in Africa, more especially in the Central African Republic. Now, a lot of investigative journalists have actually been going through undercover investigating about this Wagner Group in Central African Republic. We know Central African Republic were colonized by the French people, but of late we've seen them withdrawing from the French. We've seen in activities like when they are celebrating their independence days, they rather invite the Russian people to come than the French people. To the extent that in many schools now that we know they have been introducing Chinese language in Africa, but also they have begun to introduce Russian. So they have also begun to teach, Russia's geopolitics, which is against US politics and also the British politics. So the Russian people, in other words, are trying to show an advantage over the US, government and the British, leadership in Africa. And blindly, the Africans are showing a high rate of acceptance when it comes to Russia, because they feel like they know a lot about the Americans and the British people when it comes to governance. And most of them feel like, okay, enough is enough. But little do they know that Russia has been in Africa for quite some time now, because for those who understand this matrix, and we know that Russia has been supplying weapons in Sudan. Of course, we are seeing the wars that are in Sudan. They have also supplied weapons to the Congo. So, except that for them, they are doing these things in a hide. They are not coming out to, tell the world that we are doing this or blah blah. So this is where Africans are getting it wrong. They think Russians have never been here. They think Russians are here for them. And they think, Russians, because, the first thing these Russians are doing is to enter the education system of Africa. Now, the moment you enter the education system, you are getting the mind of the people. The moment you enter the education system, you are getting the mind of the people. They are training, because in Africa, the military tactics, the military, all the forces actually in Africa, they command their forces according to their colonizers. You look at their march, the parading and the marching. For those who are colonized by the German, they march like the Germans. For those who are colonized by the French people, they march like the French. They do everything like the French. For those who are colonized by the British, they do exactly like the British. So Russians are entering the soldiers, they're entering the security system of Africa, and they're trying to train these people into their Russian way. So you can see how they're trying to dig into Africa. And the moment this happens, one, in schools, they're introducing their Russian geopolitics in Africa, African schools. And actually, this they're offering on a bursary free. No one is supposed to pay to learn this. And they're giving people chances that if you learn Russian language and also Russian geopolitics, you have access to jobs, of course, and of course, traveling down to Russia. This is going to inspire a lot of young Africans to go ahead and study about Russia's geopolitics and also, Russia's politics, and it's the language and the social and economical way of Russia, because they have put it at a free cost. That means whether you can afford it or not, you have access to learn this. Now, of course, the moment you tell Africans that, you know what, if you learn English, you're coming to Britain, you see everybody running to do this. And there is a rumor that for these people who are going to learn this, there is a rumor that they may be recruited into military, because Russia wants to train its own Africa's military for whatever reasons. But let me first read your comments. I can see Kel Williams is right in the building. You're welcome, Kel Williams. Thank you for coming through. Lando has been here with that. Dwight Davidson, you just said hi and hello. You have not said anything. I hope you're doing good, though. I know you are. But hey, are we not going to discuss today? They are all over Africa in the quest of land occupation and control of resources. Now, they are funded by international central banker. Now, that is a comment from London. Of course. What's up, Maria? Listening at work. Hope all is well with you. And Lando, peace. Thank you very much, Kel Williams. Thank you very much, Kel Williams. I'm doing great. Everything's good with me. Everything's okay. Thank you. I hope you're doing good too. Well, peace back to you. What's up? Okay. That was Lando saying what's up to Williams. Oil forces in Africa are trained to control the African people. Yes, exactly. And of course, Jib Jabba is right in the building. Hello, Jib Jabba. You're welcome on Fire Network. Thank you for coming through. Now, Russia is very cunning, actually. Russia is very, very cunning. It has decided to come out at the time where a lot of Africans feel like they are so fed up. At the time where a lot of Africans are understanding this matrix. Now, at this point of this energy and struggle of breaking away from the chains of the people at the front page, of course, Russia comes in and it's trying to say, like, you know what, guys, we got you. US has been doing this, if you don't want to support homosexuality, we got your back. You don't care about their aid, we are together with you. And we may be even supplying you with grain and whatever to break, uh, the issue of hunger and all that. But because most of the Africans don't really understand this matrix and how it works. Now, colonization has the three phases. Colonization has the three phases. And the first phase, of course, we've been experiencing this. That's why we say we are still being colonized, because it has three phases. Soldiers, that is one. Merchants, there's the two, and then the missionaries. The missionaries who spread religion, the missionaries who spread religion, the merchants who govern trade and economy, and of course the soldiers. Now, some African presidents actually have, their bodyguards are Russian people. They have these Wagner squads, guarding them, protecting them. They're the ones guarding the states. We've seen that in the Central African Republic. The Central African Republic president is being guarded by the Wagner Mercenary and other presidents. Also, we are seeing some of the Russian people training the Uganda People's Defense Force. We've seen the Russians coming in to train them in various tactics. We've also seen the Philippines actually coming in, the Koreans coming in, to train the Uganda's People's Defense Force. We've also seen a few of Chinese trained. So we are seeing these people trying as much as possible to have their soldiers and their trust in the various army organizations in Africa. Because like I told you before, colonization has three phases. When you got the soldiers, when you got the merchants, when you got the missionaries, that means you can colonize a country or a nation. It's on and off. I don't know why. I'm seeing it's blinking and my picture disappears and comes back. General Mosquito, hello, Maria. Yeah, General Mosquito, hello. Thank you for coming through. All these Europeans are in Africa, leveraging for power, land, and control of resources is the death of the African continent. We know everyone wants to exercise their power, and of course, not only that, but of course to exploit Africa, because there is no need of you wanting to exercise your power somewhere where you don't benefit, or in a place where you don't benefit. We've seen this Wagner, the Wagner machineries, of course, working on different borders in Africa. We got these Russian people on borders. We've got these Russian people having, roadblocks to roads that lead to minerals, to oil, gold, and timber, forests where there is, timber, lumbering, and all that stuff. So we've met a lot of these Russians down in Africa, carrying out these activities that are supposed actually to be done by the local people or the government. But now these Russians are involving themselves in this personally. Imagine yourself working at night, driving your car, and you find a roadblock. Okay, it is the Russians now stopping you. Like, where are you heading to? Like, what? Is this your country? Are we even supposed to stop? I'm questioning where I'm heading to. So they have roadblocks, and I think it's the government giving them this mandate and permission to do this act. Now you can see that they have access to the security system of different countries. It's fucking up today. I hope everything goes well with it. So we have seen a lot of Putin's diplomats. Okay, we have seen Putin's diplomatic representatives down in Africa. They come in a very soft and very clean way that you may think, okay, probably they come for, whatever purpose. Others are coming like teachers, others are coming as teachers, and they've come to teach Russian language. At the moment they ask for that, of course, Africa, as you know it, they allow these people to come with open arms. They enter into Africa claiming to be teachers of Russian language, but as they're teaching, they also teach the students a lot. And in this way, they even end up recruiting a few of those who can even be total sellouts for those who don't care about Africa. Because, someone who is next to you and is teaching, at times they get to know, okay, Maria is like that. She's capable of doing this. She can do this. And that's how they have even ended up recruiting a lot of youths on the side of Russians because, I don't think the governments know that these Russians are actually doing this, but maybe they know. I don't think they are too dumb to understand the matrix that the Russians are using against the Africans governors. Okay, many Africans think the Russians Federation under Putin is the same as the Soviet Union and Brezhnev, who have the Soviets supported struggles by African workers and peasants. Today, Putin and Wagner support dictators and military juntas who suppress workers and peasants in exchange for Africa's minerals. Yes, no wonder this is why these guys are, on the roadblocks, preventing other Africans to reach those other mineral sources. Just continue, Maria. We are used to the Ugandan chape internet. um, mhm. The international banker control oil. Instead of let's talk about Wagner. Let's talk about Wagner. Let me find myself with that plate. The international banker control all European incursions in the continent. Nothing is done without their authorization. Russia, China, and all other Europeans at all controlled by the ruthless child. These guys are just camouflage. So hot in here. They just camouflage, and Africans don't understand. They don't understand that these people is one person. These people is one person. And just like Dwight is making us understand that many Africans think the Russian Federation under Putin is the same as the Soviet Union under the Brezhnev, who helped the liberation struggles in Africa in the 1970s. Now, a lot actually, this is why a lot and that's why a lot of South Africans are in love with Putin, because they'll be telling you, Russia helped us. In 1970s, they fought for liberation struggles and all that. So South Africa is actually willing, is ready to give up everything to make sure that Putin is all right. You saw, you had last time when Putin was going to be arrested. I mean, when they put, some bounds on Putin, and of course, they wanted to arrest him, and at that time he was supposed to flow down to South Africa, and we saw the likes of Julius Malema coming out and saying, "We are with Putin, and nobody's going to arrest him on the soils of South Africa, and what have you. So Putin, you can come down to Africa and blah blah." So you can see Africans, they feel that Russia has been with them, Russia has been fighting with them, but just like Dwight Davidson saying that Putin is not that in the Soviet Union, okay? So he rebels, he's against every Soviet belief, not until she gets rid of those pink glasses. General Mosquito, please. What's the time over there? Are you taking some hot tea? You are disorganizing my discussion. You are disorganizing my house. Chujaba, don't worry. Don't worry about the fine. Don't worry about the fine. I can even surprise you tomorrow. You see me here with the fan. Don't worry about it. Ah. The humidity today, actually, the temperatures today have not been good. So I guess it may rain at night or tomorrow. That's why. Back to our discussion, guys. Forget this crazy guy. Jim Jabba crazy. Okay, what do you want? What's it with my glasses? So, like Lando is saying that these people they are China, Russia, and other Europeans. They are controlled by the Rothschilds. The illusion is believed that Russia is there to help, and the Chinese are the evil one. Both of factions are very evil, and the United Nations are there to manage the Rothschilds agenda. Great weather for growing pineapple. By the way, we are eating pineapple. No, we are not growing. Pineapple is being harvested. It's a season of pineapples. I think it is the cheapest fruit now. Everywhere, pineapple. The whole Uganda is smelling pineapples. In a recent interview, the head of Wagner admitted that the elites in Russia are cooperating with the elites in Europe and America. This is verifying why I believe that the Ukrainian war is a controlled war designed to defeat the West and allow the international bankers to move their headquarters to China. You know what you've been telling me about this matrix thing of these the Ukrainian war and all that stuff. Right, Lando, just on your face. You know, the Russians, of course, somehow I've Lando, I've not actually seen uh Russia's trying to sabotage Chinese, but rather these people have been in cahoots. We've also seen China, the Chinese, head of states going to Russia and what have you. So these guys are in a cahoot together, though there is a scramble for Africa. And I think some of them are like, whoever will control. Whoever will have the chance to control Africa will win. So for Africa, it's a two-way thing. Whoever we choose, no one is, whoever we decide to go with, everyone is winning when it comes to these guys, when it comes to the Chinese, when it comes to the Americans, when it comes to Europeans. We know who is controlling them. We know that big people out there who are controlling them. So the confusion, because not every African country is going to accept Russia. A few of them will not, more especially when it comes to those countries that are being controlled by Arabs and the Islam religion, because most of the Russians are not too much into the Arabic thing. So we shall see that most of them will not agree to that. And they know how this thing is, because first of all, we are divided according to our religion and our beliefs. That's why most of these Chinese are not in countries that have a lot of Muslims. The same thing, we are not seeing Russians going with a lot of Muslims too. And so you can see there is still that struggle of other Africans refusing to embrace the Russians and Chinese style, because they believe these people are not close to, to their hearts or whatever belief they have, more especially when it comes to religion. Now, we may see countries, other people coming out. The moment that fails, you will see them introducing again other people who believe in their specific religions coming out to also claim part in Africa. I'm sorry, I'm yawning a lot. A lot. Yeah. Take your family, rain has stopped and I gotta get back working. Stay strong. Oh, it is raining over there, Jibi Jabba. Is it raining? Oh, that's great. I hope it rains soft. Does it rain soft? Like good rain? Anyway, I guess you have to go back for work. Yeah. So these Russians actually have so much showed their big intention. And I don't know why a lot of Africans are having that. I don't know why a lot of Africans have that soft spot for Russia. And now let me tell you, Mukwenda, thank you. Is it cold? It's cold. Thank you. Sorry. I may take this water so. And then I will be saying how. Robert Williams, thank you for coming through. One word. One word. But Russians, like I was saying, Russian people, first of all, there is something I've realized about these guys. When Russians come down in Africa, they so very much want to mingle with the local people. They try, of which I know they are racists. I know they are. I don't know how they do it, but they try very much to remove what they call class. Okay? And they want to mingle with these local people to create a picture that you are not different from us. But if you want to know how that is done, you go to their embassy. There is a lot, but still at the embassy, they use a lot of local natives, the people of that very country where they are. There are only few Russians in the offices, compared to other embassies where you find the only people who are who are working at the embassy and from that country are either security people, the ICT personnel, and probably those who work in the embassy's youth centers. For at least the U.S. embassy has youth centers. It has youth centers, a lot of youths. It deals with a lot of young people. Sorry. So it deals with a lot of young people. So a lot of this could be because the Eastern Europeans are very much like Africans, as they still have a lot of black DNA than the Western Europeans. Maybe because even these guys, the Russians, even learn African languages very fast, very fast. And when, very fast, which is very surprising. Because according to statistics, I think they're the fast learners when it comes to African languages. And when they start speaking these languages, they speak these languages fluently. There is a way a British person can speak a local language. You hear them speaking in that way. And when Russians speak, you feel like they're speaking it more fluent than these others, So, and then when it comes to how they mingle, and when it comes to how they, carry themselves, living alone, the code of conduct of the military staff, they make sure, I don't know whether they just pretend, but they somehow fit in with the African people, which makes the African people feel like, African people just, you can get them. Their feelings are so soft, you can reach, their heart so very quickly. And this is how actually Russia has managed, because their soldiers have been put down in the villages. They are living with these village people. They go out in the same places where they go out at. Forget this other. I've not seen European soldiers or American soldiers doing this. Most of them were American soldiers. When they come down, of course, they will create their American bars. You will know that is an American bar. So whoever is going in there either has connection with American people or has connection with the. So you will not find a lot. Now, what the Russians do, they just come to use your bus. They are there with you guys. They don't have an identified thing like this is the Russian restaurant where we are going to eat the Russian food. They don't have the things categorized that like, okay, this is the Russian club where we are going to. They maybe have and yet they have the opportunity or the rights to create those things, but they don't create them, and they keep mingling with the local people, which makes the local people feel like Russians are here for us. They're our friends, because if we are able to sit and get the same bottle of beer, and probably for those who drink tequila, whatever it is, and we drink the same, sit on the same chair, they feel like we are one people. They don't, segregate us for whatever. But that is the technique that Russians are using. And of course, bringing back the history we fought for you. Every story a Russian person is talking about in a bar is how they fought for Africa, how they've been, for Africa, how they really love Africa and all that stuff. It is so weird to find that every Russian wants to talk about that, which makes me believe that these people they're here for a mission. They are here for a mission. They are like preaching the gospel about Russia, leaving their prints in the mind and the hearts of the Africans. So they want to take Africans willingly they want Africans to willingly surrender to the Russians. And this is actually going to happen. I saw that during the Independence Day of the Central African Republic, of course, this year, when they were celebrating, the Central African Republic independence, the way the Russians were mingling and involving with the local people in the Central African Republic, to the point that even as you're heading to the national airport, they have these Wagner machineries at the airport. They're the ones who are opening it for you, checking and all that stuff. So they feel like, okay, I don't know what I'm here to understand is if these people are part of the Central African Republic Army or if they have joined the Central African Republic Army. One thing I know for sure is that Russians have been in Africa training the African soldiers and their tactics and code of conduct. Maria Lando is the military. He may to be able to attest to this. But where is he at? I'm not seeing him. So, General Mosquito, what are you? Lando is a military. What are you? Could it be because the Eastern? Yeah, me, I feel maybe, but even if almost even the Chinese have a piece of so yeah. But for those who are watching, thank you so much, and for those who have come through, thanks for your comments. Lando, where you are? Genocide is very busy to more. And Dwight Davidson, I don't know what you're up to, but I guess you're still watching. I've not seen Kai Washington. I've not seen okay, Robert Williams is here. Williams? Was Ken Williams here? I guess he was. Let me check. I've not seen Big Cheese. Was Ken Williams here? Really? Yeah. He just said what's up. He just went out. Bob questions here. I've not seen Ken Williams. Okay. I saw you just said hi. I've not seen Ken Washington. I've not seen Robert is here. Ginger is here. I'm not seeing Sankin Warren. Land is here, of course. I've not seen Big Cheese. I've not seen the C. William with the C. I've not seen Derek. Yeah, I guess. Who else I've not seen? Yeah, there are a lot of people will be commenting. I'm not seeing y'all guys, but I hope you're doing great out there. I know you may be very busy because it's time for work. I believe so. But for those who are still watching without commenting, thank you very much for loving and supporting Black Hot Fire Network. Now, the Wagner machinery group in Africa has not entered some parts of Africa, but I know they are in South Africa. That because Putin showed his interest in South Africa, and I saw some down here in Uganda. I'm not sure if they're still here or probably they came for different reasons. That Big Cheese is fighting with with all those illegal immigrants in Chicago. Okay, yeah, it's it's of course okay. Hmm, okay. So yeah, no one. How about Derek? So so these Wagner's machineries, um, of course, whatever they are doing now, Africans. Last time we were talking about Africans trusting people so much. We saw how great African leaders, of course, are being killed, and because of trusting. Uh, People a lot. Now, if Africa is capable of allowing the Wagner Machinery Group to join the African military defense forces, that means they are very vulnerable to Russia. Because these people will get to know, will get to study, and understand how the military defense forces in Africa operate. And yet we are not seeing the African military personnel joining the Russia, but rather Putin is sending his Wagner machinery group to join the African military defense forces, which of course leaves the African very, very vulnerable to Russia. Because now someone gets to study you and understand how you run your thing. They get to know your weakness, and that's how they're going to backstab you, or overthrow your government or whatever it is. Because of course, there are a lot of dictators who are in power because of these other leaders. More especially, we have seen the one in Central African Republic in power because Russia is supporting his existence. Russia is against the rebels. Of course, the rebels are being sponsored by the French people. So when the French people started sponsoring the rebels to overthrow the government in Central African Republic, Russia came in and, of course, send its Wagner mercenaries to start protecting the president and the state. There are few Africans in Central African Republic who are actually protecting the government, the president. The president pushed them away. They have limits to access him, but rather the Wagner machineries are the ones who are doing almost everything. He doesn't have black bodyguards. He has these Russian machineries around him because the French people were sponsoring a rebellion against him for whatever cause. Of course, he was trying to go against their command. Now, we saw the same thing during the Uganda's political campaigns when America when America showed that it is in support of Bobby Wine, and Russia said that we are going to support Museveni. So if and then US came out and started warning the president of Uganda, and Russia also stood up and said, I'm together with you, so I got you back. Whatever US wants, I'll make sure that you stay in power and all that. So you can see it shows them, it finds the vulnerability of the African people and comes to cover that wall or the hole with whatever you need in order for it to also have a demand at a given time and in the future, because that's how those people run their game. There is no Muzungu for African, for Africa's purpose or for Africa's goodness, but they're here for their own selfish gains. And we are seeing the same act being done by Russia, and how Russia is of course, in Africa for her gain. South Africa is part of BRICS, which is an economic alliance of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. It will become a military alliance. South Africa just had military drills with Russia, and some sources say South Africa sent military supplies to Russia in Ukraine. I'm not sure yet, but it could be true because South Africa of recent has a strong connection with the Russian government, to the point that Putin wanted to even come to South Africa during those days where the High Criminal Court was trying to, arrest him over the war in Ukraine and all that. So he had chosen to come to South Africa. Um, and yes, if you say they send some military supplies, I really, really don't doubt that. There is a high percentage, high chance that they really did that, because they have been in cocoons for quite some time now. And, working with this Bazungu is something that has affected Africans a lot, more especially when it comes to politics. These people, they use you, and when they get tired, they dump you. And of course, when they dump them, now the African leaders go ahead to look for other people to collaborate with, to look for other, countries to work with. We've seen how the Americans have been working with the African leaders. But for the Americans and Americans and of course the Europeans with their aim of course human rights and fighting for the people's cause, the moment they reject your leadership, other people are trying to reject your leadership, they also start detaching themselves from you. They start detaching themselves from you. They start looking for somebody they can use again. They start, they dump you and they start looking for another vibrant person they can use, because for them, they don't want to dirt in their hands, and all they claim is about we are fighters of human rights and democracy and all that. But we know they are the reasons why some other fools are in power, why some other people are in power. So the moment they use you and they see that your followers, all the people, the citizens that you are leading, have against you, or they are not following you, they detach themselves. And now also the leaders, what they do, they go ahead and look for other contracts and look for other willing leaders who are ready to work with them. We are seeing how different countries, of course, rejected the US, and they are rather embracing now China, because like I say, the moment US sees that they are not so certain of your win, or they are not very certain of you continuing to lead, they let you go and they start looking for some other person they believe that people will love and support after using you for a very long time, of course. So this is what probably is making some other people very annoyed, and they really want to say, we don't care whether Russia is here for us, whether it's here to destroy. I rather go for Russia than somebody who used and dumped me. So that's true. They are very deceptive and they are very cunning. Okay, thank you. That's a comment from Jerome Mosquito. Russia says it is fighting colonization by helping dictators push away from France, yet Russia is taking out African minerals and supporting dictators just like the French. Yeah, because we see how there's some mineral sources that, we've seen in Congo where the United Nations has a base at a gold well, and no one can access that place. The only people around that place are Bazungus. They are the one there is done by the Bazungus, except for the gold miners. And the same thing now is happening to Russia. They want to overtake the minerals and control everything, and in the end get this weapon and supply the weapons to facilitate wars in Africa. All they bring is confusion, and for Africans to realize this, it's going to take a lot, and we may have lost a lot at that time because most of them don't know. We know that we have two, canals fighting in Sudan, and we know one is being sponsored by Russia, actually. So Russia says, okay, do you want to fight? All right. Is the other one with the French people or the Europeans? If they are with the Americans, let me give you so that you can fight. For him, for Russia, it's about you continuing to fight. All he does not really care, because though when I listen to a certain, minister in the Central African Republic who was saying that Russia does not preach about you fighting with your neighbor. It preaches about you loving each other and all that. We have not seen another Mzungu coming to tell us that, but I know that's not true. I know what he's saying is not true. Probably he's communicating this to his people and to make them think that Russia is not involved in the war that is taking place in the Central African Republic and other African countries, because I don't believe what he said. I don't believe what he said, because directly Russia is showing you that I can be on your side if you are not on the other person's side. I can be on your side if you let go the United Nations. I can be on your side if you let go the USA. I can be on your side if you let go, the British people. That's how. And for whatever you want to do, I will support you. Do you want to fight them? I'm ready. That is very obvious. So this other Central African Republic Prime Minister trying to tell us that Russia is, proclaiming and preaching about Africa's unity. How does he benefit? How does Russia benefit from Africa uniting as one? How does Russia benefit from Africa's, development? How does Russia benefit from that? So these other people, I know it's not true, but I know that Africa wants to hear a word of peace. They want to hear you, so they say what your ears want. They speak what they know that you want to hear, and their actions are totally different. They come out on different social media platforms. They come on different televisions. In those small lectures they are having with the youths, of course, through teaching them Russian geopolitics and Russian language. They preach to them like, we are here, we want you to be one and all that stuff. But because they know this is what a lot of Africans would love to experience or would love to hear somebody say. The moment you talk about we are together as Africans, we got to fight this and that, and okay, are the Russians speaking the same language we are speaking? Are they on the same chorus as we, as we are? Are these Russians really believing in Africa's cause? So that is how they are trying to stupidly win the hearts of a lot of Africans, and Africans with their naiveness, they are embracing and agreeing to this because they think if Nomzungu was here for us and Russia is saying he doesn't care, for him he wants us to be all right, he's not here doing. So that Africans have not experienced that kind of connection with these other colonial people. When it came to Chinese, also Chinese did not. They did a lot of practical stuff, building hospital, roads, and all that stuff. But they were not so very much involved with the Africans, apart from, of course, pregnanting the African women. They did not so very much socially involve themselves with the Africans. They were so segregated. They go out to places with other Chinese. They don't really associate with a lot of Black people. But now the Russians are doing otherwise. If Africans are demonstrating, Russians on the streets, demonstrating with them, if they don't know the cause of the demonstration, that's what makes me know that these people are pretenders. They're really pretending about everything. You just don't walk on the streets simply because Maria and her squad are demonstrating and just come join without knowing the purpose of this demonstration. You just want to capture the mind of the people. Okay, he's a Russian. Can you imagine? He understands our pain. If you were to interview him, like, what are you doing here? He even doesn't know what he's doing. even doesn't know why he's there, even doesn't know why he's demonstrating, but because he wants to be there so that other people can see him and they say, you see these guys, they're here for us. You know, Russia is taking gold and timber out of Central African Republic in exchange for protecting the dictator. Mm. They are taking the gold and the timber. That's why all the roads that lead to the forests, where this the timber lumbering is taking place, is guarded by the Russian Wagner mercenaries. And most forests will Putin bought that entire place because most were this place, most people were moved from that, even some little amount of money and taken to some places. The entire place is being run by the Wagner machineries. You just through that time place just like that. Anyhow, you have to have access. The roadblocks are many, you know, reading to where the is taking place. Right there, it's on for that comment here, and it's an interesting show. Most of the local people don't understand the things. First of all, poverty has controlled a lot of African people, and our mind has so very much been controlled that someone may look at the money she or he has been given, and at that time, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to move to somewhere where I'm going to buy some plots of land, a plot of land, and I'll be there. But you don't know what you've left behind in that land that you've been having. You're going to a place probably where there's a lot of floods and whatever. You are leaving minerals, you know, rich, you know, piece of land of money to kill your generational progress, and your children will have nothing to, you know, gain from that small piece of land you're buying out of your, you know, land, where the Chinese are harvesting the mirrors. I'm sorry, I'm yawning a lot. I'm taking a medication, you know, and I'm having some ulcers disturbing my stomach somehow. So I'm afraid even to eat food. So I guess I'm yawning like that. My body is mechanically exhausted, but it's all good. But she's saying it's all good. It's all good. Otherwise, guys, for those who have joined us, thank you very much for loving and supporting Black Hot Fire Network. Thank you very much for always coming through and dropping your comments. Dwight Davidson, thank you so much. Thank you so very much for those great comments. General Mosquito, thank you so much. Lando, I hope you are still watching. Thank you so very much. Jib Jabba, thank you very much for dropping by. Robert Williams, thank you so very much for coming. And of course, Kat Williams too, thank you very much for coming through. I think those are the people who dropped their comments, and whoever has been watching and has not commented, still thank you very much, guys. Thank you so very super much for dropping those comments and also watching Black Hot Fire Network, and more so for always watching my live shows. Have a good weekend, Maria. Thank you very much, General Mosquito. Have a good weekend too. Have a blessed one for that. Positive vibes everywhere. Thank you very much, guys, for loving Black Hot Fire Network. It has been me, Africa Mariah, from Kampala, Uganda. See you Monday, same time. Stay alive and take care of yourself. Whew. Bye bye. See you. See you when you see me.
See you when you see me. See you.
How? What the hell, man?